Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video on adding and subtracting fractions. So people tend to find this a little more difficult than multiplying or dividing fractions because you have to make sure the denominators of each fraction are the same before you add or subtract, and you only add or subtract the numerators. So let's look at an example. So let's do 7 over 8 plus 3 over 8. So this is an easy one to do because the denominators are already the same. So in this case, we only add the numerators. The numerators are the numbers on top. We only add 7 and 3 to get 10 over 8. So this can be simplified because 10 and 8 share a common factor of 2. So I can divide 10 by 2. And 8 by 2, and that's the same as 5 over 4. So 5 over 4 is an improper fraction. If you're asked to give your answer as a mixed number, do as we did in the previous lesson. You go 5 divided by 4. How many times does 4 go into 5? It goes in once, remainder 1, and then you keep the same denominator. So 7 over 8 plus 3 over 8 is 1 1/4. So what if I wanted to do 7 over 8 minus 3 over 8? Well, this is again easy because the denominators are the same, except this time we're going to subtract the numerator. So 7 minus 3 is 4, and we don't go 8 minus 8, we keep the same denominator. So 4 over 8, you should see very quickly, is the same as a half. So let's now look at some examples where the denominators are not the same. So let's do 4 over 5 plus 1 over 10. So here the denominators are different. So before I can actually do any adding, I need to make the denominators equal. So I'm going to need to times the denominator here by 2. I need to times the 5 by 2 so that this denominator will be equal to 10. Now, what you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. If I times the bottom, the denominator by 2, I must also times the numerator by 2. So 4 over 5 is actually the same number as 8 over 10. They're both equal to 0.8. But writing it like this, 8 over 10 instead of 4 over 5, means that now I have two fractions with the same denominator. So I can just add the tops and keep the denominator the same, just like I did in the previous example. So if I wanted to do 4 over 5 minus 1 over 10, well, that would be very similar. I would convert 4 over 5 to 8 over 10 again, but this time I would subtract the numerator, so I'd get 7 over 10, and then I'm done. So now we're going to look at an example where we need to multiply both denominators. So this is going to involve the lowest common multiple. So what does this have to do with lowest common multiple? Well, let's say I have something like 1 over 6 plus 2 over 15. So the denominators here, 6 and 15, are clearly not equal. So I have to make them equal. What I have to do is find the lowest number that is divisible by 6 and also divisible by 15. In other words, I need to find the lowest common multiple of 6 and 15. So that number turns out to be 30. If you go through multiples of 15 until you find one that's divisible by 6, you go 15, no, 30, yeah, that's divisible by 15 and 6. So I want to make the denominator of each of these fractions equal to 30. So what I'm going to do is I need to times this denominator by 5, because 6 times 5 equals 30. What I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So for the second fraction, it has denominator 15. So I need to times that by 2 to get to 30. So what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So 1 over 6 is the same as 5 over 30. All I did was go 1 times 5 gives me 5, 6 times 5 gives me 30. So for the second fraction, I am going 2 times 2 gives me 4, and then 15 times 2 gives me 30. So 2 over 15 is equal to 4 over 30. Now I have two fractions with the same denominator. I can simply add them by adding the numerators. So I get 5 over 30 plus 4 over 30. 5 plus 4 is 9. Keep the same denominator. So once again, this fraction can be simplified because 9 and 30 have a common factor of 3. So 9 divided 3 is 3. 30 divided by 3 is 10. And we're done. So let's now try 3 over 5 minus 3 over 8. Once again, denominators are not equal, so I can't subtract them until I make the denominators equal. So the lowest number divisible by both 5 and 8 is 40. So I'm going to times bottom and top of this fraction by 8 to make this denominator equal to 40. Then to make this denominator equal to 40, I'm going to times top and bottom by 5. So 3 over 5 is the same as 24 over 40. 3 over 8 is the same as 15 over 40. So once again, I just got that by going 3 times 5 is 15, 8 times 5 is 40. So now they have the same denominator. I just subtract the numerators, keep the same denominator. 9 over 40 can't be simplified because 9 and 40 have no common factors. All right, now we're just going to take a quick look at adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So let's try 3 and 4 over 7 plus 2 and 5 over 8. I think the easiest way is to do the whole number part and the fraction part separately. So what I mean by that is, so let's take the whole number parts 3 plus 2. Well, that's just equal to 5. So I've added the whole numbers together. Now what I'm going to do is add the fractions together. So to do 4 over 7 plus 5 over 8, you're just going to do that exactly the same way we did on the previous slide. So the lowest number divisible by both 7 and 8 is 56. So I'm going to times bottom and top of the first fraction by 8. And then I'm going to times top and bottom of the second fraction by 7. So I will get the same denominator. So I'm leaving the 5 alone now. So 4 over 7 is the same as 32 over 56. 4 times 8 gives 32. Then, of course, 7 times 8 gives 56. And for the second fraction, 5 times 7 is 35. 8 times 7 is 56. So now I'm just going to add together these two fractions. So I just add together the numerators. Once again, I'm leaving the 5 alone. So it's 5 plus 67 over 56. So 67 over 56, we know how to turn that into a mixed number. It's 5 plus, so 56 goes into 67 once, remainder 11. So it's 1 and 11 over 56. So now 5 plus 1 and 11 over 56 is just 6 and 11 over 56. And that is my final answer. I know this was a lot of work. This is tricky to do. The other way to do it is to make each of these improper fractions. I'm not going through that because I think it might be a little tough, but you can always ask me if you'd prefer to learn that method. All right, let's now do one where we're subtracting one mixed number from the other. So let's do 4 and 5 over 6 minus 3 and 9/10. So I'm going to do the whole number part separately. So 4 minus 3 is 1. And then we have plus 5 over 6 minus 9 over 10. So now we're going to figure out this sum here. So what I want to do is just do the fraction part. So I leave the 1 alone. So 6 and 10, the lowest number divisible by both 6 and 10 is 30. So if I times top and bottom here by 5, this denominator will equal 30. So I then need to times top and bottom of this fraction by 3. And that will make its denominator 30. So 5 times 5, I'm up here now, 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 over 6 is 25 over 30. And then 9 over 10, 9 times 3 is 27. 10 times 3 is 30. So this is 1. So 25 minus 27 is minus 2. Once again, I'm only subtracting the numerators. So it's 1 minus 2 over 30. So the way I do that, I make one 30 over 30. 30 30ths gives me a whole. And then now I just simply subtract the numerator. So I get 28 over 30, which can be simplified to 14 over 15. So that's how you do it without a calculator. Once again, if you think you'd prefer to make these two into improper fractions and then subtract, please let me know. All right, now we're just going to do one worded question and then we're done. So let's try this question here. In a class of students, 7/12 of them have blue eyes, 2/9 of them have green eyes, the rest have brown eyes. We're going to find the fraction of the class that has brown eyes. So what we have is one whole class. We're going to subtract the people that have blue eyes, subtract the people that have green eyes, and that will leave the fraction of the class that has brown eyes. So here we have sort of three numbers. We need to make them all have the same denominator. So 12 and 9. We need to find the lowest number divisible by 12 and divisible by 9. So let's go through multiples of 12. 12, is it divisible by 9? No. 24, is it divisible by 9? No. 36, is it divisible by 9? Yes. 36 is the lowest number divisible by 12 and also divisible by 9. So I need to times 12 by 3 to get to 36. I want both denominators equal to 36. I need to times 9 by 4 to get to 36. Then they'll have the same denominator. But if I times the bottom of this fraction by 3, I must also times the top by 3 so I don't change its value. Similarly, if I times the denominator by 4, I must times the numerator by 4. So I want these two fractions here to have the same denominator of 36. I can also change 1 into a fraction whose denominator is 36. 1 is the same as 36 over 36. So 36 over 36. So now let's go 7 times 3 gives me 21. 12 times 3 gives me 36. So I just do 12 times 3 to get to there. Now I do 2 times 4 is 8. So I'm subtracting this. And then 9 times 4 is 36. So I have 36 over 36 minus 21 over 36 minus 8 over 36. So all of the denominators are the same, so I can simply subtract the numerators. So 36 minus 21 minus 8 gives me 7, and I keep the same denominator. So 7/36 of the class had brown eyes. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.